Well, it's May 8th, 2024. Um, I've been taking several days off of doing this, but getting back to it. I've just been really busy. I've just been extremely busy. Moving, making moves on the website, um, uh, meeting with customers. Just, it's just been a lot. Getting ready to move has been a lot. So, on top of normal stuff, it's been pretty overwhelming. But I wanted to check in here and say what I can. So, um, we probably have 7 people signed up to um, start paying us to use Pad Stats. Um, I've been working night and day on just making all our reports look professional and work correctly and have all the functionality. It's been really useful that like Sean is the customer, because he has a lot of opinions that help us make decisions and move quickly, and they're usually right when we talk to the customer afterwards. So it's actually like really good that we have a founder that's the customer. Um, And the frustrating, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on right now, but one of the frustrating things is like, um, in some ways, Sean like won't let me build the part where we charge people because he's so focused on having like the product be good. And so I'm like, for like several days, I haven't been able to work on like the Stripe integration, which in itself gives me anxiety because it's like charging people their real money. And having to do it right so that nothing screws up. But whatever, we'll get there. I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, we're thinking about raising money. We're thinking about we need to get some more computers. We're thinking about launching other products. And it's just cool. We're just in the middle of it. I mean, I was telling Sean yesterday that like it's crazy to think that, I mean, we're close. We're not there yet, but we're really close. That, um, obviously he does a ton of work and everything. I'm just gonna talk about me for a second, but it's he does all the back end with all the databases with the properties and everything. But it's crazy to think that these hands, I got blue on my hands. These hands started with nothing and built a website, black screen to or white screen to this. And I'm not saying this is amazing, but it exists. Um, and this is charging people money for its value. And there's a lot of ways to build value, whatever, but I'm just gonna be grateful for my effort and for everyone's help and support up to this point that hopefully hopefully in a week or less we will be charging real humans real money for the amount of value we add to the world, and we're going to go from there. um, Sean's talking about quitting his job. We're talking about if we need more money for computers or for different functionality that we're adding. I think I was watching a lot of YC videos while I was driving the last couple of days, and it's just so funny that like it really is true that you just don't know what to do a lot. And it's like I keep saying it's like a video game. It's like a video game that you're playing, and you're kind of like RPG. You're kind of looking around like what do I do with now, with this time, with this money, with this effort? Like what do I do next? What mission do I play next? What quest? Or how far along in the quest am I? I have no idea. How many more bosses are there? Seemingly there's 100 of them all around me. Um, yeah, so I got my big to-do list of fixes to the website, and I'm just trying to make us 1% better every day. And that's really my goal, is if I can get the company to be 1% better every day, then that's going to be exponential. And we're starting to look into adding crime to the website, doing appraisals. I think it's a lot of data coming our way that frankly we're not ready for. It's gonna like 50x like what we've done so far. So I'm a little nervous about scale and cost of that. But we're kind of teetering between trying to get some funding, trying to self-fund, maybe getting a small business loan. Like it's a hard decision. It's hard to know what your actual options are versus what you think your options are. Um, I don't know. We'll get through it, but one day at a time. I'm just gonna make us 1% better every day, and try to look ahead a little bit. Um, but so far, it's been pretty amazing how much we've been able to accomplish for very little money. I think altogether I think we're less than 10 grand altogether in so far. Um, and I think to do most of the things we want to do, you know, it might be 2 or 3 or 4 times that, I guess, so far. I don't know. We're still not, like, we don't have any employees yet. Like, that's like a whole nother thing. But, take the win. If we can we have 7 people signed up on the wait list to be charged whenever we can charge them. I don't know if I was just watching a video on like the dimwit meme. Like, I don't know if it's dimwit, like genius and idiot, or in the middle to like build a product, like be so focused on product like you don't even know how to charge people for it. I'm gonna hope it's a good thing. I don't know. um, but yeah, I'm just like looking at my to-do list, but yeah, life's good. Life's busy, and honestly, I guess on a more personal side, like I just feel so energized and fulfilled working on this. Anytime I'm starting to reverse into old patterns where I'm thinking bad about myself, I'm reflecting about past decisions or conversations or relationships, and I'm feeling bad about my actions. Um, I not that I like murdered anybody, but like you just feel like you just you're always like reflecting, and this has been such a great tool for that, for my mental health, because it's just anytime my brain starts to go back to stewing, because I have a brain that stews and thinks and thinks and overthinks and goes back and forth about old stuff from high school, from whatever, all over again every day. This has just been such an amazing tool to just say stop. Let's work on pad stats. Let's not do that right now. Maybe there's something there, but also that was 20 years ago. Like what are we really worried about? Obviously if it happened, we're probably sorry. We probably said we're sorry to the person, and why can't we move on? I'm sure they don't even remember this thing anymore. And it's just, I think it's how our human brains work sometimes, like overanalyzing things that don't matter, because I think it comes from the root cause of like at the most basic human level, I'm worried about being exiled or something. I'm worried about like death, I guess, but it's more like being excommunicated from Earth or something. It's a weird thing. I mean, I'm sure it's like from when we were in tribes and stuff, but all I'm saying is this has been a great tool. I've had a lot of tools, meditating, getting good sleep, going for a walk, seeing friends, watching a comedy, treating myself to something, doing some self-care, taking a shower. I do all these things, and all these things help. But the times that were the hardest were like I'm in the car driving, or I'm, doing something that's kind of mindless. So my mind starts to wander back into negative territory. And that's where I go, no, let's work on pad stats. And it's just like been such a godsend to like keep me moving forward, and not feel bad about myself, not feel like I'm this terrible person. I don't like, it's just such a hard thing for me to just let go of things, and not think I need to like call somebody 20 years later and ask like and sorry, say sorry to them or something. I don't know. And it's always about like little things, like really small things too, like that they probably don't even remember or care about at all, or don't even want to talk to me about, if that. So I don't know. All I'm saying is find your thing if you can. It's great. Find your thing that keeps you forward, moving forward. Try to, if you're thinking about the past and it's already effectively resolved, um, don't find a way to say stop. Let's think about the future and just keep going. Like I think it's my superpower. It's my blessing and my curse that I'm a stewer. I'm a thinker, and I think it's so much wasted energy and wasted life to use that superpower for thinking about the past. I think it's about, if I can channel it towards the future, I can do amazing things. I'm fully capable of it. It's just allowing myself to channel it into good. And I think that's how professional athletes think. That's how a lot of people think. It's like, how do I take this thing that I have and really use it for the most helpful parts of my life. Anyways, so I haven't been reading any books lately. I haven't really been working out. I haven't really been doing a lot of things that I like to do. I've just been like really just building every moment I have to, keep this going, keep this moving. And I don't feel like, I wish I could read. I wish I had more time to think about that stuff, to learn. I need to focus on learning. It's just so hard, it's so hard to prioritize right now. So, that's kind of in my head. I've been getting some anxiety about like just all my to-dos on the to-do list, and, obviously the move and everything is going to be a lot for us, and the new baby coming, the move, everything happening in the next 2 months. I've been working on the house, getting the house ready to rent out. It's just a lot right now. I spent my entire therapy session this week just complaining about my life, about all the anxieties I have. And, that might sound like a waste of time, but honestly, it helped me because it helped me just let go of some of the emotion behind it and just think more logically. Like, why don't I just get all these things that are in my head and into a to-do list and just start checking them off. And I started doing that. So it's a little anxiety provoking because I have like 30 things on the to-do list that I need to do before we move, which has nothing to do with pad stats. And I have another 30 things on my pad stats to-do list, but at least they're on paper and I can say I'm going to cross one or two off every day and see where that takes me. But yeah, I mean, my wife has her last day at work in like a month. It's like coming up. Like we did this whole cold water thing. It's almost been an entire year. It's like time's flying, and I don't feel bad about the time flying because I'm having fun. I'm enjoying my life. I'm getting stuff done. I'm not stewing. I'm just like having fun every day, building and learning and growing and being uncomfortable. So that's kind of the update for me right now. There's some like family stuff going on with us too, but it's fine. It'll be fine. I had this revelation a couple of days ago that I don't know. It's just like when you're a parent, there's a lot of like parenting things that come up, and like I can never decide how much. I kind of got into this with my dad. I can't decide how much to be quote unquote my kid's best friend versus being their parent. And I feel like everyone above me in age and maybe parenting skills, I don't know, would say that you can't be your child's friend. And I maybe a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, I'm gonna laugh at this, but I don't know. Right now, I'm holding strong that I think it's the goal of the parent to be the kid's friend, because I don't know if I'm better at this or not or whatever, but I really remember a lot of what I felt like when I was a child. at different ages and different experiences, and I hope my kids do too. And a lot of them are bad, and I think it's the same thing as like the stewing thing. Is like I often like only remember the bad parts of stuff, and so I when I'm thinking so now it's full circle that like it's weird, I'm 33, I guess. I don't know, I think I'm 33 years old now. It's weird to think that it's coming full circle the first time, and maybe hopefully there'll be a second time where I'm a grandparent, but it's coming full circle the first time where I'm the parent in the situation now. It's like such a weird, like, messes with your mind that I experienced this moment already as the child. How do I remember that when I'm experiencing it the second time? And it's like one of those movies where you kind of like have like Groundhog Day kind of. But so yeah, my one kid is almost 4, and she's experiencing things that I remember going through, and I remember how I felt during some of them, and I probably don't remember enough of them to be extra helpful, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is like I remember, and it's hard to remember these things, so it's like I need to keep this top of mind or else I'm gonna lose it. But I remember times when my parents did things or acted a certain way or required me to do things that made me feel really bad. It made me feel like they didn't care about me, didn't love me. And I don't think that it was obviously it wasn't their intention to do it that way. And I don't think it was like on purpose. And I think the most fundamental thing that parents forget is because it's no one's fault. It's like, you're just in the day to day. My dad has this like, the days are long, but the years are short mantra. And it's so true. Like every day, like getting them to sleep every night is like such a hard thing to do. But it's really hard to remember how much this child like relies on you and needs you, and is so worried that you're gonna leave them somewhere. Like they're so worried because they know how much they need you for everything, that you have so much power over them. Like, you kind of forget that when you're the parent, like, that they're a child, but you forget to what degree they're a child, because it's been years, maybe decades, since you've experienced those things. Like, I firmly believe that I didn't understand long-term gratification until I was like 25 or 27 years old. And I know it's going to be really hard to remember that my child will not understand long-term gratification until they're 25 or 27 years old, when I'm 40, 50, 40, whatever, 40, 45, 50, all these ages where it's been decades since that mind switch changed for me. And same thing goes for when I was 3 and 5 and 7 and 10 and all these ages. Like, it's so long ago that part of your brain is gone. That connection to those memories is hard to find. And to find the feeling that you had when those experiences happened. And it's painful too to relive them. So it's hard to jump back into it. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I think it's really powerful and useful to do so, if possible, because I think it reminds you the real life version of what your child is experiencing. It's not to say the true version, because I would argue the parent understands the true version better, but it's true to them. It's true to their experience and how they're feeling. Their feelings are true. And so I'm still in the boat of thinking, as the parent, I have so much power over this child. I know so much more than them. I can literally do anything to them if I wanted to. I have so much power. I'm stronger. I'm bigger. I have more knowledge. I can teach them anything, and I can teach them not to do anything. I can force them to do pretty much anything. Um, and the hard part about being in power is that you forget that you're in power, and you forget how powerless the other person is. And you start to assume that these kids, even if she's only 3 or 3.5, 4, it's already happening, where you kind of forget that they don't really understand things like you do. And when they're asking why a lot, or asking for candy or whatever, asking for all the things that kids want, that are annoying, like, you forget that, like, they have no clue why you're saying what you're saying, like why you're saying no. Like, they have no understanding of like any reality that is different than theirs. And this is going to be the same for every age, just their questions and needs are going to be more complicated. So like, you're going to take the easy way out, which is to assume that they're already 27 years old and they already understand long-term gratification like you do. And they already have all these experiences that you already do. And, that they already know all these things, or you've already told them, and they, should remember them. All these things. I think it's like, you just, it's really hard to remember what it was like to feel and think like a child. And I'm calling a child age 0 through 27. I think that's really the cutoff, in my opinion. I think it's really hard to remember what it was like to think like a child, because when I really get into like logic problems or discussions with my daughter, it's like, it reminds me how little she understands. Like, she's very smart. It's nothing to do with that, but it's just like how little she understands about what's going on in the world or in her life or what's happening. And like, the idea that like we would not have enough food tonight is like so stupid for me to think about my life. But she could come to that conclusion if I use the wrong language around her. If I use kind of simple but aggressive language, saying, we can't have that, we don't have money for food right now, or something like it, like we don't have time for that, we don't, like, it's like, I'm just trying to say that we need to be, as parents, mindful of how we would experience reality if we had so little power, so little understanding of the world like our kids do. And in that respect, I default to, it's not my job to be the authoritarian in their life. It's not my job to impress upon them all of these like things that they must know, because I think it's skipping over the part where they're so far removed from reality that it hurts them to impress upon them all of these things. Like, I do think there's kids that do well with it. I don't know if that's like them repressing their anxieties or something. I don't know if that's a better way, but I guess I've encountered other parents that are more authoritarian than me, that are my age, that are my friends. And it's just not my style, because I think the kid is already so helpless. Becoming a do as I say or else mentor or person in their life, it's almost like giving them more reasons to think that they're helpless and alone, rather than less reasons. Like, I'm not here to like let my kid run around naked and do crazy things. I just try to be the best like passenger in their life, because I know more than ever. Like, I want to be the supreme entity that knows more than them, but doesn't show it, doesn't like need to like slap them over the face with it. I want to guide them to figure out their own way to be independent and have a fun, happy life. But I know more, and I don't need to like remind them I know more all day, every day. I think it's best to, that's right, like I default to like be their friend. Don't don't be you know, a doormat. Like, don't like just cater to everything they need, but it's more like, what would the best mentor and friend that they could possibly have say or do in the situation at the communication level that they're capable of, or right above it, you know? And I don't think that's an authoritarian figure. I don't think that I don't think authoritarian figures take someone who feels helpless, alone, and like they could die at any moment, it makes them feel safer. I think it like scares them into acting appropriately so that they don't get excommunicated. I think that's where some of this like excommunication comes from, is like your child feels like you could just leave them on the side of the road if they screw up. I felt that way all the time when my parents got mad. I hope you can remember that too, that you felt that way, that like, oh my God, I got this bad grade, or I did this thing, I spilled this thing. They're all very like young feelings because your brain's still developing. But I felt that all the time. Like my parents are just gonna leave me somewhere. Like they don't like me anymore. They're not gonna like. And plus, this is the other like side of this is like, I think until you're a parent, you don't really, as a human being that doesn't have children, I would argue you don't know what like a parent's love is, and you don't understand how unconditional and full it is, and how it just shapes your brain to like want to die for these kids. And you've never felt that feeling as a child, and I would say even as a 20-something-year-old person, you don't know what that's like. Like I use the word love a lot before I had kids, and I think there's different types of love, but like I feel so strongly about keeping my children safe, like that I would like, give my own life for it, that the idea that I would leave them on the side of the road is comical, right? Like that's like the stupidest thing I could possibly think that I would do for these kids. But they have never felt that way. So they have no idea that that's comical. They think it's a kind of a thing that could happen because they are so helpless and alone and worried, and it's just like it's as my point I'm trying to make is, it's so hard as a parent to remember what it was like before you felt this love, and before you had this long-term gratification, and before you had all this knowledge and resources in this world, to just remember what it was like to be dropped off somewhere and not know if your parent was coming back. And not be it just every day at school. Your kid does not know if you're coming back. They have to trust you. And I sleep better at night guessing that being their best friend makes it easier to trust that I'm coming back than being an authoritarian figure. And I guess I'm doing a science experiment to decide if that's a good way or not. So yeah, my goal is to exert my dominance and power over my children as little as possible. I have to do it sometimes when things are getting way out of control. But it's to remind them of the power I have over them as little as possible, and be the helpful passenger in their life. I'm holding the steering wheel, but I'm going to let them pretend that they're holding it as much as possible, so that they can make their own decisions and learn their own lessons, and learn and grow as much as possible without being told what to do every day and how to do it. And I think that's how you create independence, which is the ultimate goal. It's the saddest part about being a parent, is like having an independent child, but it's also the goal. So it's hard because you don't need them. And the last thing I'll say on this is like, I'm starting to realize that when I was a child, my parents had so much power over me. And now that I'm an adult and I have my own decisions, I have a lot of power over my parents. I could choose to never speak to them again, and that is really painful for them. and it's more painful for them than it is for me, honestly. I hate to say it, but it's true. And I like to believe that if I can show wisdom and grace and understanding and passenger mentality when I have all the power, right, which is with my kids, which is right now, that when they have all the power over me, once they turn whatever age, and they don't really need me for anything anymore. I don't know if that's 10 or 14 or 18 or 27, but that I like to hope that will be symbiotic in some way, that they'll understand that that they have power and they can use it any way they want. And I hope that me not using my power over them is a net positive for our relationship when they have the power, because then they won't think that is the strategy to our relationship. But I'm still working on that part. That's a little fuzzy to me. It's hard. It's a lot. Maybe a little bit of 4D chess hypotheticals that I'll figure out. But yeah, I don't know. This all kind of stems from I just kind of got into it with my dad about if we should be our kids' best friend. And maybe I'm a total idiot, and in 7 years I'll disagree with this whole opinion. But at this point, I strongly encourage people to be your child's best friend. And I think you got to remember that they don't have any best friends, and they don't think that they ever will. They have no idea how much you love them. They have no idea. They probably assume love is like eating chocolate. Like, eating chocolate is the best feeling they can have right now. Like, they have, like, it's, you forget that you have this fulfilling waterfall of love, like, for them at all times of the day and night, and they don't have that towards you. They have love as in the thanks for caring for me, thanks for being there for me, thanks for helping me, but they don't feel this waterfall of emotion towards them. They don't cry at videos of them a year ago, like of you a year ago. Like, they don't like, they're more aliens than humans in that way, that they don't feel those things that you feel, because they don't know how, and they can't process it. All they can do, like, to them right now, love, when they say I love you, daddy, or thank you, or you're my best friend, daddy, what they're saying is thank you for keeping me safe, thank you for being there for me, thank you for feeding me, thank you for making my life better. But they have no idea that I would do that forever, always, no matter what. Like that. Like, it has nothing to do with. It's a just involuntary mechanism for me to do that for them, and their reciprocation is not. Their reciprocation is a choice that they have to roll their eyes to. When the parent calls the kid rolls their eyes and decides if they're going to talk to their parent on the phone, right? Because we love our parents, but I don't have this waterfall of emotion towards my parents like I do towards my children. And it'll never be back. It'll never be the same back towards me. And I need to accept that. And I guess my way of accepting that is to really try not to exert my dominance as much as possible, and hope that creates the most independent and understanding child as possible. But pretty soon I'm gonna have 3 of them, so it's a little bit anxiety inducing that I'm worried I don't have enough attention and time for all 3 of them. I'm worried they're gonna resent me for that. I'm worried that I can't focus enough on them and making them feel good or fulfilled or something. I don't know. I don't think any of them wishes they don't exist, Like I think all three of them would want to exist given the circumstances, but I think they might resent me or be upset that I don't have enough time or energy or attention for them throughout their life or their first 27 years. And, it's scary to think that I won't be enough for them, which is inevitable. But, yeah, so that's what I'm working through. That's my life right now, May 8th, 2024. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's useful to anybody, but that's where I'm at. And, just one day at a time, trying to improve our company, help my kids as much as possible, and enjoy my life, which I am. So I'm happy. All right. I'm going to sign off. I'll see you.